Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Lauderhill TV. I am your host, Millissa Jayne, and I am the founder of Lauderhill TV. We are going to have another great show, as we always do. So get ready for a show, and don't forget, go ahead and share the post, like it, and let everybody come on in here and learn what's happening in the great city of Lauderhill. Yes, indeed. Welcome to Lauderhill TV. I'm excited to be here again. It's another week, and we have another amazing guest for you. How you feeling tonight? How are you feeling, guys? Come on in, get settled down, get your drinks, get your snacks, tell a friend, share the post, man. Don't be mean. Let somebody else know that you're enjoying these shows. We always bring you great information and great resources. That's what Lauderhill TV is all about. So again, come on in and just type a message in the chat so I know that you're there. And remember to subscribe to the channel. We're here every week, Thursday at 8 p.m. And again, welcome to the show. Welcome to those who are already here. Come on, guys, get settled down. And we're going to get into it today. But let me just remind you what Lauderhill TV is all about. You know, there are so many things that happen in the city of Lauderhill. And the media always focuses on the bad stuff. But right here at Lauderhill TV, we like to focus on the good stuff, on the good things. Now, there are three main areas that we focus on. Number one is our amazing people. Our amazing people, such as who we have tonight. And you can actually see some of the other amazing people that we've had on the shows just by going to look at some of the archives, but don't go anywhere right yet. And then number two, our resources. The resources that we have in Lauderhill is so incredible. We have things for youth, we have things for seniors, we have things for just regular people. Every person in our city we account for. And then the third thing is our businesses. We have so many great businesses, and we like to shine a light on them, focus in on them, and let you know where our restaurants are, where our beauty salons are, and etc. 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 So each week we're building our catalog as we go along. All right. So again, come on in. Welcome to the show, everybody. Again, type your name in the chat so that I know you're there and I can welcome you. But I want to just give a really, really good welcome to every single person, especially the regulars too, and tell a friend. Each person, tell a friend to come on in. All right, guys. All right. So I'm going to share a few commercials, and when we come back, we are going to have our amazing guest, Joanette. So don't go too far. We'll be right back. Advertise for free on Lauderhill TV while the offer lasts. Call 954-279-3893 for the details.
Join us for Positioned for Purpose Women's Conference, empowered for such a time as this, Friday, November 3, 2023, 6 to 10 p.m. Register online at www.themeemovementllc.com.
At Shamslaw Financial Services, we specialize in credit services and insurance services. As a financial social worker, I'm here to help you maximize your credit score with thinking outside of the box.
Located in the City of Lauderhill, Mercy's Healthcare Registry have been serving the AIDS community for over 15 years. As a staffing agency, we hire HHAs, CNAs, LPNs, and RNs. Give us a call today, 954-572-3699.
Welcome back to Lauderhill TV. I am your host, Millissa Jayne, and I'm excited to be here. And we have a wonderful guest for you tonight to talk about quite a lot of different things. And I know you're going to enjoy the information and be well impressed by my next guest. So let's go ahead and welcome our guest to the show. Welcome,
Hello.
Joanette Brookes. George, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing well, thank you. How are you?
I am fabulous, and all the better to see you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, now we've been meaning to do this for a little while, so I'm excited to be able to accommodate you today because
Thank
you
you.
have something very, very special coming up. But before we get into that, I actually met you at a previous symposium
Yes.
just a few short months ago, and you
Right.
were on the panel. So you are somebody who is well into the community, doing a lot of great things. And I just wanted to say it was a joy to meet you and to connect with you after that event.
Thank you. Same here. Same here.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, we're going to start talking first about the event that you have coming up. We'll just touch on it a little bit, and then we're going to come back to it in more detail. So let us, what is actually happening coming up very, very soon?
So on October 19th, Thursday, October 19th, we're having a domestic violence symposium at the Sadkin Community Center. Thank you for putting the flyer up. And the theme is Break the Silence, End Domestic Violence. The registration, it's on Eventbrite. I'm encouraging everyone to register so that we have a close to accurate head count, so we have sufficient food. Food's being served. Refreshments are going to be served. So come
Nice.
out for the food, but also for the information about what domestic violence looks like, how it can manifest in our community, what resources are there for individuals who are struggling in a situation of domestic violence, and just overall education about how the process works, how one can get out of a domestic violence situation, and the legalities involved and so forth.
Okay, so let's just take a few more moments just to talk about who is going to be at this event.
Great. So we have Michael Calderon. He is the chaplain, and he's one of the, I think, victim advocates at the Lauderhill Police Department.
Yeah.
We have Maria Bedoya. She is, we were classmates together some years ago. She has an amazing organization, Empower Women LLC. She does therapy. She's a therapist,
Okay.
and she does therapy, and she specializes in family issues and family trauma.
Uh-huh.
Then we have the amazing Dr. Linda Parker. She is the president of Women in Distress. She will be on the panel also sharing her experiences as a person who runs an organization helping people out of domestic violence. We have Dr. Adrian Carter. He is a conflict resolutionist. He does trainings all over the world in healthy relationships, effective communication, and so forth. And we have Elvis Keynes. He works in violence prevention and intervention in Miami. He's actually moved. He was more in the domestic violence department, and I think he recently moved to the senior program within Miami-Dade.
Uh-huh.
Then we also have a few other people that weren't on the flyer.
What?
We have two victims of domestic violence that are flying in for the event. We have a cybersecurity expert. He's going to be, they're going to be sitting at the front. He will be sharing the component of digital stalking, what that looks like.
Wow.
And then we're hoping to get permission to zoom into the jail and speak to an individual who has been incarcerated for domestic violence incidents and their perspective of things. We're looking for we're supposed to be having two. One is a woman who defended herself and was incarcerated in the process of her defense.
Mm.
And then one is a male who perpetuated the act and is incarcerated.
Wow. So this is quite a lot of things you're going to have going on, which is very, very great. Now, it's going to be happening Thursday, October 19th. So not this Thursday, but the following Thursday, and 4 p.m. till 8. And where is it happening?
4:30. So
4:30.
5 o'clock sharp, the event starts.
Okay.
4:30 is registration. and people can get their refreshments, their food, and have a seat. And we also have at least 9 vendors.
Okay.
So you can browse what they have and connect with them before the event starts at 5.
Perfect. And again, it's happening at the Sadkins Community Center, which is 1176 Northwest 42nd Way at Lauderhill, of course, Lauderhill. So we're going to come back to some of this again a little bit later, but we want to know a little bit more about you, Joanette. Joanette Brookes George, PhD C. So let's go back a little bit. Who is Joanette? Could you give us a little bit of background on who you are?
Joanette is a little West Indian girl who spent lots of times in different islands in the Caribbean. So she says she's a West Indian because every time school was closed, she went somewhere else to spend time with family.
Okay.
But she went to school in the Virgin Islands.
All right.
My grandparents are from Nevis and spent time in London.
Oh.
And I spent lots of time with my grandparents growing up.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. And
a lot of time in my country?
Spent some time there, yes. Not a lot.
Okay.
just a little time with them. Yeah, and I was able to travel. I was always on the plane. I'm of the generation that I'm sure you were around the same, a little older, but so around the same age. I don't know, around the same generation where children flew with the stewardesses. There wasn't a charge for that. You got to sit in the front with the pilot and hang out in the cockpit for a moment. So I have very, very early memories of about 4 or 5 years old, with my suitcase, lugging it to the airport, to the plane with the stewardess, and sitting at the front of the plane and getting all the perks.
Wow.
Then being handed off to another stewardess to catch the other plane, and then handed off to a family member. So been traveling.
Well traveled. Nice. I love that. I love that. So, Joanette, we got a lot to talk about today. So let's start talking about you as a professor. How did that come about, and what are you teaching?
So I left the financial industry during 2008, 2010. I was very involved in that real estate, stocks, bonds, so forth, lost a lot during that time, and decided I'm just going to abandon it and go to education. So I went back to school, got a few master's degrees. And
I love the way you just throw that in. What masters do you have?
So I have a master's in international intercultural education. I have a master's in public administration. I have a specialization, which is a graduate certification in conflict resolution and consensus building. I have another one in HR and personnel management.
All right.
And then I have another one in sociology.
Okay, wonderful.
And then my doctorate is ethical leadership with the specialization in criminal justice.
Wow, so you like to study. You like to study, huh?
Yes, I do. So so once I got the first master's and I was managing a department at FIU, I was approached to adjunct to do it. First, I was already doing a teaching assistantship during my master's, and then I was approached to adjunct. So I did that. Then I left there and I went to St. Thomas University, and Florida Memorial University, and Lynn University.
All right, wonderful.
But that's more recent.
That's more recent.
I kind of was just at FIU for a while, and then I wanted to change. Life happened. There were some things occurring in my personal life. Part of why I'm in this position, in this mission. So I had to make some changes to make sure that I was able to be a present mom.
Right.
So I decided that I was going to pursue education at the K-12 level so that I would be on the same school calendar with my children. And because I was transitioning into single parenthood.
Okay.
And Then I went to elementary school. I did intervention at first. And then I said, nope, I can't do the babies.
Okay.
Because I wanted to adopt everyone. I wanted to bring them home and feed them and take care
Oh,
of them.
big heart.
Yeah, my mom is an educator. She's like, you can't do that. You need to
Yeah.
separate yourself. You can't do that. I said, I can't. I don't know how to. So I went to high school for 2 years, all while still occasionally teaching a college course. I did high school for 2 years. No, ma'am. The students thought I was a high schooler. So we had issues of, a little bit of fresh, hot under the collar, just inappropriate things students would say, and I had to constantly redirect and check the students.
Wow.
So,
is that because you have a baby face?
Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
I love it. Okay.
Because I had to tell them, I was like, listen, I'm older than your mom. Get it together. Like,
Right.
Don't do this. So then I transitioned to middle school. I went to Parkway.
Okay.
I was invited there actually I was always at the school because my children have been at the school for, I think it's about 13, maybe 13 years now. They've been when they first started at the school. So I've been around the school since then as a very involved parent. And I went on a field trip, and the assistant principal at the time, he turned to me, he said, you're always at my school. What do you do? I said, I'm an educator at the private school. He said, and how do you get time off to be here? I said, my schedule is such that I have time off. I don't, thankfully I don't get sick. So I take my sick days and take some of the hours that leave early and come and do things at the school.
Okay.
And we had a longer conversation, and he said, there's some vacancies you should apply. So I was applying for a social studies teacher, and then a few of the teachers in performing arts, which is why I was chaperoning. The director at the time, actually, she approached me and she said, I'm going back to the classroom. Do you want my job? And I was like, funny. I didn't say it to her at the time, but another teacher had said, you should apply for it because I heard she's moving back to the classroom. And I was like, but I'm going to do social studies. It's easier. And they're like, but this is in your wheelhouse. What's the problem? So I applied, and I was successfully selected. And I was at the school for 6 years.
Okay.
And I transitioned out of education, K-12 education, for health reasons.
Oh.
But I still would, I took some time off of university, and I returned to the university. So I'm there at the university every day, Monday through Thursday, basically, working at the university and doing more programs with the students and other extracurricular things outside of just teaching.
Yeah.
Now.
What sort of topics are you teaching at the school?
So right now, this semester, I'm teaching organizational behavior, which is a business course.
Oh, okay.
So within the course, one of the projects is, the final project is that the students are expected to create surveys, send a letter to an organization requesting permission to analyze their current culture and their level of productivity. And they do surveys, they go in and they speak to the staff. They sometimes also speak to the administration. They observe for a short period of time, and they create an analysis, which is submitted to me at the end of the semester and also returned to the organization. So they make recommendations and they provide it to the organization to enhance their productivity and their organizational behavior and culture.
Oh, okay.
Another course I'm teaching is contemporary social problems. We're focusing a lot more on violence because that was the basis of my dissertation work, and a lot of the components of the social problems that we're seeing now stem from some form of interpersonal violence. So we're going through different types of violence, and today actually we did a presentation and review of poverty and its connection to violence that we're seeing now. And principles of sociology, I teach that every semester. Which is it's a required course.
All right.
And it just teaches you how the world works and how you fit into the world, which is a lot different from most people, from what most people think coming into college.
Uh-huh.
It's I call it the mind rupturing course, where I destroy some of what you built your life on.
Wow.
The that you've lived in thinking because you lived in a home where there were implicit biases and they had biases towards certain races or xenophobia and so forth. So in this course, all of those things are interrupted or destroyed. And I've had students many times tell me, "Oh, Professor, I can't talk about class at the dinner table. My parents ask me, how was class?" And when I tell them the things that I'm learning, they get so mad at me and they want to just excommunicate me from the family.
Wow.
But I believe what you're saying and I see the research, so it makes sense, but it's not what my parents believe. And I'm like, please don't get kicked out of home.
I know, right?
Just think differently and keep it quiet, right?
Yeah, that's so interesting that you'd stretch the mind like that, because you don't find too many professors or teachers doing that kind of being disruptive in that way, but not in a bad way, you know,
Correct.
in an education way.
Yes.
But we have so much to talk about. I'm going to take another short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the classes that you're teaching, where you're teaching right now, and how you got into the domestic violence world. So
wonderful.
We'll be right back. Don't go too far. Advertise for free on Lauderhill TV while the offer lasts. Call 954-279-3893 for the details.
Join us for Positioned for Purpose Women's Conference, empowered for such a time as this, Friday, November 3, 2023, 6 to 10 p.m. Register online at www.themeemovementllc.com.
At Shams Law Financial Services, we specialize in credit services and insurance services. As a financial social worker, I'm here to help you maximize your credit score with thinking outside of the box.
Located in the City of Lauderhill, Mercy's Healthcare Registry have been serving the AIDS community for over 15 years. As a staffing agency, we hire HHAs, CNAs, LPNs, and RNs. Give us a call today, 954-572-3699.
Welcome back to Lauderhill TV. We're in the middle of a pretty interesting conversation, and Joanette here is talking about how she is disrupting the traditional way of thinking in some of her classes. So could you just run through again some of the classes that you're teaching currently?
So
and where too?
Oh yes, I'm at St. Thomas University and Lynn University. At Lynn, I teach the dialogues of social sciences. I think it's a DSS course. I can't remember the name of the course, but it's similar to principles of sociology, where we also interrogate, investigate the social norms, and take them apart and determine, are they truly valid, or is it an issue of the person in power and control creating the narrative that these are the ways we should live. And contemporary social problems. So we look at the problems in society and try to get to the root of them and create some form of interruption. I don't really believe that we can solve most of society's problems without it being a collective change, which is really hard to do with millions and millions of people to change their mindset as a whole. But I do believe in interruption. We can interrupt the cycles, interrupt the processes, interrupt the violence, interrupt the cycle of poverty, for instance, interrupt the instances of violence in our community. And we can make changes, small changes that can ripple effect. If enough of us make small changes, we can actually do that. That every 1 degree becomes a 180, becomes a 360.
Right.
And the other course is Principles of Sociology and Organizational Behavior. Next semester, I'm teaching Sociology of Law. And I think the other class is Social Deviance.
All right. So you are a professor. You're currently a professor at, you said, two universities? Is that
Yes,
right?
St. Thomas University and Lynn University this
Where's,
semester.
where's Lynn? Where's Lynn
Lynn
University?
is in Palm Beach.
Oh, Palm Beach.
Yes,
Okay. All
yes.
right. Cool, cool, cool. You have a lot going on, my dear. And again, we're here really to just to talk about the event that's coming up on the 19th.
Yes, the 19th, October
The
19th.
19th. So again, this is the Domestic Violence Symposium. We have quite a few speakers, moderated by our friend right here, Joanette George. And it's on the 19th at 4:30 for registration, and it's going to go on till 8 p.m. over at the Sadkin Center.
Yes.
Now, what made you get into the domestic violence and also human trafficking field? Because I heard you speaking at a human trafficking symposium as well.
When I was younger, the person the landlord for the place where we lived growing up, he owned a restaurant, and he would go to the Dominican Republic and bring young women over to work at the restaurant. But then in the evening, they would be seen coming from this little motel that's close to the restaurant with guests. And they would also have them coming to their residence, which is right next door to where we stayed. And there would be individuals moving through and out, men back and forth through like a revolving door. And they were supposed to be waitresses, but they were also doing sex work. I saw that growing up. There was no word for that before. People would just call them whores or, derogatory words and say that's what they're actually doing, not waitressing. And so that piqued my interest as a child into the exploitation of women.
How old were you at that time when you saw that first?
I think I was about five. I was
really?
about 5. I was at 5. Yeah,
I affected you in that way, and you sort of saw something that was up at that time.
Yes.
Interesting.
Because I remember I was around 5 because I was in early years of elementary school when I said something and I was told, take a child's place.
Say that again?
To take a child's place. Mind your business.
Mind your business and sit down like a child. I got you.
Yes, exactly. And I saw it happen in other instances throughout. And I had that righteous indignation that this was wrong and there's something that needs to be done about it. Growing up, and my story, my documentary, and a few other people's stories is in the works. So I'm not afraid to say I was a victim of some forms of sexual violence during my life. And because those things weren't addressed, they were left there was no therapy, there was no even acknowledgement of some of the things that occurred. What happened was I ended up in a toxic relationship. And that relationship, there were varying forms of domestic violence that occurred in that relationship. And I had to leave, which was around the time that I switched from university to K through 12 because I became a single mom and I had to make sure I was able to navigate their school calendar. And it's always been there. 26 years ago, I mentioned to 26 years. I mentioned to my mentor, I was student government vice president at the time, and they were recruiting me for a political party because of my role in politics already at the school. And that was my 3rd political position as a university student at the time. So they were recruiting me in and we were just talking. So tell me about your life. And I opened up and my mentor was like, you need to write a book. And I need you to start a student club and get these girls in and have conversations because I've heard this before and I know this is a thing that happens in certain cultures and you really need to do this. Right. And I sat there and I listened to her. She was so excited about the idea. And I told her, no, it's too hard. She said, it's too hard. You just ran an entire campaign for student government vice president. You ran and you won with this huge margin of victory. And this is too hard. And I said, yes, it is, because it's my story. It's my story. And when I tried to share my story before, I was not believed. I was also told to be silent. I was shushed. And then later in life, shame was another force to mute me. So going through life, not being able to share, not being able to address the hurt, address the challenges that came from these experiences, walking through life using the lens of this trauma as my guide through life. So I'm looking through life, think about looking through cloudy glasses, making wrong choices, and ending up in unhealthy relationships and experiences. So, like I said, it was too hard. I didn't do it. And then here we are years later. And I realized that I need to do what I was supposed to do 25 years ago. And I've done the work. I've traveled the world. I traveled in the Southeast Asian region for several years. And I connected with some groups over there who were doing small pockets of sexual exploitation work, human trafficking work. We did some interviews with individuals that were sex workers. We had conversations about, how did you get into this? Why are you doing this? Some of them, most of them rather, it's a socioeconomic reason. Some were forced by a partner, but even socioeconomic reasons, that's still a level of force causing you to do this type of work. So they weren't happy, but they felt it was the best option. And so I have varying stories from those experiences. And I did that for a while, try to connect with the group here in Miami that were doing things in the 2009, 2010 period of time. It was a bit hard to get into that group because I had the baby face. I didn't look phenotypically like the others that were doing things.
Okay.
And so my passion was like, oh, that's so good. I'm happy to hear that. But we have people and we're doing this work, and you can come and do this, but we're good on the research and the other side of things. And that's kind of where I wanted to get.
Right.
So I did volunteer for a while, but didn't feel valued. So I went my route, and I was, because people are like, well, why would you leave Florida and go all the way over to Southeast Asia? And we have the issue here. Well, that's the group I was able to connect with at the time. So did that, did the human trafficking research and work. And then I had, like I said, I left the K through 12 for medical reasons. And then I had another medical issue in March this year. So I've been doing the work. I presented at conferences, had conversations, sat on panels before, spoke about the different topics of interpersonal violence and sexual violence. So in my mind, I'm doing the work.
Right.
So I got very, very ill in March, was non-responsive for a period of time. I woke up from that state of being.
Wow.
And I knew what I had to do.
Okay. All right. So is it safe to say then that only since this last illness, you've been, let's say, 100% full force with the domestic violence and the human trafficking work? Is that right? Or
no, I wouldn't say that. I've done the work. I have been doing the work for years. I've spoken. I've done. I've connected with agencies. I've done things within the community, and I've done things within the Caribbean on the topic. But as far as gung ho full time, yes, since March.
Yes.
Everything else can sit on the back burner. This is all I'm doing.
Wow.
I have a for-profit business, and I'm turning away clients because this is my main focus right now. Yes.
Wow. And you know what? When I met you, was it?
It was June, July,
somewhere around there. I could feel that. I could sense that there was some urgency about what you were doing. I
Yes.
really could sense that, and you know, you know, nothing before its time. But I did sense that you were very, very serious about this. But all right, you did mention business and you mentioned nonprofit. Let's talk about those two. What is your business? And
So
then
I'm
we're going to go into
nonprofit.
the.
So I've had a few companies that I've dissolved them, but the one that the most recent one is Leveraged Investments Incorporated. That business focuses on teaching financial literacy
Okay.
from children to adults, and also small business sustainability.
Okay. Very, very good. Very, very good. Um, at some other point, I think we'd probably have you back and we'll talk a little bit more about the business side of things.
Yes,
I
that's
like that, the business sustainability. And
yes.
there's actually a course that I'm actually going through right now with with Lauderhill called Lauderhill Shines.
Yes,
And
yes.
are you familiar with it?
Yes, I am very familiar with it. I'm so glad when I found out they were doing that in Lauderhill, I was like, oh my God, this is great. Because what happened, I approached one of the Commissioner Dunn and we had a conversation, and I was explaining to her that the things I do in the business, I'm doing as part of a program within Unmute Yourself. And I'm coupling that with alternative to violence prevention activities with a component of financial literacy and helping people move into the entrepreneurship space. So she mentioned to me Lauderhill Shines and the different programs they had, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. I didn't even realize you guys had this in Lauderhill. It's so great. I'm so glad you're doing it, because I'm actually well, I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm doing it's rolling out in January in another city with my business and a few other organizations. So we haven't gotten the official go ahead, but we're supposed to be moving forward in one of the cities in Miami to do the same, something similar to Lauderhill Shines.
Right.
But we've been waiting for about 2 years for the approval, a year and a half for the approval.
Right.
And they finally are in the process. So I was happy to hear that Lauderhill's doing it.
Yes, and then what occurred to me as you mentioned business sustainability was I don't even know if the Commissioner Dunn is looking for extra professors, but you are a professor. You have experience in all of these different things, and I've seen in our course different professors from different places and are teaching classes. So who knows what might come of that? I'll just leave that there. I'll just leave that there.
Definitely.
All right.
I'm in her ear about it, but let's see what happens.
Okay.
As things move forward, one thing at a time.
All right, exactly. All right, but now you're talking about your nonprofit. It seems like the most important thing. So let's talk about your nonprofit. What is it called, first of all?
It's called Unmute Yourself. And that goes back to my story of being silenced by family, silenced by culture, silenced by society, and silenced by shame. So these things muted my existence. And I'm at a state where I'm unmuted and you can't shut me up.
Wow. Wow. Powerful. Unmute. What is it called? Unmute yourself?
Unmute yourself. Yes. Initially it was unmute her, and that I have pivoted that name to my mentorship, my young women mentorship program, where the plan is for us to have monthly brunch meetups to go through, just create a mentorship program, and also have some seminars and workshops on entrepreneurship, different things that women need, empowerment, just self-care, simple self-care. What are you doing for self-care? What are you doing as a mother with children, a single mom? How are you managing your time yourself? Are you always burnt out? Are you pouring from an empty cup? Those type of things, just connecting to give support to women that don't have the support, because I know how that feels personally.
All right.
And so that was the name. Well, first of all, the first phrase that came to me was value your voice and voice your value, which is the motto of the organization. If I move, I guess the logo's behind me, but it says it at the bottom.
Okay.
And that was the first thing that came to me when I was thinking about the organization about 3 years ago. Did nothing with it, just wrote it down, made a cute little logo and left it alone.
Right.
And then because the work that I do, it's across genders, I felt that unmute her would be too limiting.
Right.
I
Right.
would leave out a large part of the community that is already ignored.
Okay.
And so I moved to unmute yourself. So
Got
unmute her is a specific component, a program within it, but unmute yourself is the organization, the full organization.
And you mentioned some of the things that the organization is doing. Is it geared towards domestic violence victims or survivors? Is it geared towards victims of sexual human trafficking and stuff like that? Is it, or is it just for, you explain?
It is geared to victims and survivors of interpersonal violence.
Oh.
Interpersonal violence includes gun violence, it includes sexual violence, and sexual violence then includes human trafficking, child sexual abuse, sexual assault, and domestic violence.
All right. Understood. All right. And are you able to drop me your address to your website or any social media in the back? We're going to take a break, and if you can drop that in the StreamYard in the back, and we will come back and share that for everybody to go check you out. And when we come back, we're just going to wrap things up. All right. So guys, if you're listening, if you're still listening, just drop me a number 1 in the chat right now. And we're going to be right back in about 2 minutes. Advertise for free on Lauderhill TV while the offer lasts. Call 954-279-3893 for the details.
Join us for Positioned for Purpose Women's Conference, Empowered for Such a Time as This, Friday, November 3, 2023, 6 to 10 p.m. Register online at www.themeemovementllc.com.
At Shams Law Financial Services, we specialize in credit services and insurance services. As a financial social worker, I'm here to help you maximize your credit score with thinking outside of the box.
Located in the City of Lauderhill, Mercy's Healthcare Registry have been serving the AIDS community for over 15 years. As a staffing agency, we hire HHAs, CNAs, LPNs, and RNs. Give us a call today, 954-572-3699.
Welcome back to Lauderhill TV. We're having an amazing conversation learning all about Joanette Brookes George and the organization she has, as well as her business and all of the amazing things that she's doing. All right, so we still have more to go. Guys. Let's just refresh people's memories on the event that you are here to talk about one more time for everybody.
It is a domestic violence symposium. We have 5 panelists on the flyer, but we do have more individuals speaking. We have Michael Calderon. He is a chaplain and he is a victim advocate at the Lauderhill Police Department. We have Maria Bedoya. She is a clinical director, a therapist at Empowered Women LLC. We have Dr. Linda Parker. She is the president and CEO of Women in Distress. We have Dr. Adrian Carter. He is an internationally renowned conflict resolutionist. And we have Mr. Elvis Kane. He works in violence prevention in Miami-Dade. And I'll be your moderator for the night.
Right. Yes, you'll be the moderator. And of course, it's October is domestic violence month. Is that right?
Yes, it is. It is domestic violence. It's breast cancer awareness, domestic violence awareness month. Anti-bullying day, I think, was October 2nd. There's a lot going on in October.
A lot going on. So you're encouraging people to wear their purple in solidarity.
Yes,
it's great. So just tell us again where the event is and the times.
So it's at the Sadkin Community Center in Lauderhill. It is directly south of the Lauderhill Mall. If you have transportation, that's the reason we moved it to that location. If you have challenges with transportation, the bus terminal is right there at Lauderhill Mall. Get off the bus at Lauderhill Mall and you just come down a few feet south and you will meet the Sadkin Community Center. The address is 1176 Northwest 42nd Way in Lauderhill. That's the phone number listed, 954-322-2450. That is the number of the center. We have a toll-free line for the organization. It is 844-2-UNMUTE. And then we have the direct phone number on the flyer, 954-439-8208. If you need any additional information. If you are unable to attend because it conflicts with something else you have going on, you can register, and the registration is on Eventbrite. You can register and select virtual attendee. Then you will get a link, and you will get a link to watch it if you are able to still watch it live. And if you missed it live, you will also be eligible for the email sending you the replay.
Wonderful. Perfect. That's great. It's available in person and online. So that's
Yes.
great. All right. So, Joanette, this has been really, really interesting to learn a little bit more about you, of course.
Yes,
That's how
great.
we do on Lauderhill TV. We
Yes.
dig a little deeper,
Mhm.
and we really want to learn all about the people that are in Lauderhill. And you've done quite a few things in Lauderhill just
Yes.
recently. So keep up the good work.
Thank
But
you. Thank you.
you know, we want to just end with something a little bit fun, and want to know, what is a favorite restaurant or favorite place in the city of Lauderhill that you enjoy?
So I thought about it, and I remembered Joan's Kitchen in Lauderhill off of 441. Really good restaurant, authentic Virgin Islands and Division food, because like that's kind of some of my heritage.
Okay.
And I also love Joy's Roti, because I love my getting roti skins and cooking my own stuff to put in them,
Okay.
because I'm mostly plant-based, but I'll have a little bit of that occasionally.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, those two spots, my favorite spots
But
to
the
eat
first
out.
one you mentioned, Joan's Kitchen.
Yeah,
What is
Joan's
that?
Kitchen.
What is that again? What's that close to?
It's right off of 441, just before the Dunkin' Donuts. That's on 441. So it's just south of the Dunkin' Donuts on 441. Go check it out.
I have to go
Really good.
check that.
On Fridays, she has, before Lalo's and everybody else came with the stuff, she's always had a DJ and kind of a Friday evening hangout at her restaurant.
Okay, good to know that we definitely are building a list of favorite spots by our guests. So we want to definitely check
Yeah,
them out at some point.
definitely check them out. Tell them I sent you.
Yes.
My cousin is her best friend.
All right, so let's just go ahead and let people know again. The event is happening on Thursday. That's 1 week from now.
Yes.
Thursday, October 19th. It's the Thursday night. So guys, go out and support this. All the information is there. I will have all the flyers of all the events coming up in Lauderhill on the Facebook page. So go check that one out.
Also, I forgot to mention, the event is free to attend, but we are a nonprofit, and we do have a shoe drive fundraiser that we are launching the night of the show. So we are calling it Stepping Up Against Domestic Violence.
Okay.
And we're taking a step to safer and empowered community. We would like for you to bring your shoes. It says lightly in the flyer, but all conditions of shoes are accepted. Before you throw the pair of shoes in the trash, put it in a bag and bring it to us. The organization that I work with, they recycle the shoes.
Oh.
They take the shoes and they recycle them. They send them to Haiti. There is an organization in Haiti where the shoes are given to apprentice cobblers. They take the shoes apart and take whatever's good from the shoe, and they make other shoes, and they give to individuals in the community. And of course, any of the other shoes that are lightly used also go to those individuals in the community. We are also collecting some of the better quality shoes and giving to individuals that are at the shelters, because domestic violence victims and their children have to leave with one bag of, if that, of clothing, because they have to move quickly and they can't take a full suitcase. So they don't always have clothing.
Wow.
like a variety of clothing, and they don't necessarily have more than one pair of shoes. So we're taking the ones that are better quality and donating to the shelter, and then the other ones that are a little bit more used, more loved than the lightly loved ones, we'll send them off, and they are creating jobs in Haiti, and also providing the ones that create the jobs, they make the shoes and they give them to those in the community.
So that's a great program. I never heard of the recycling of the shoes. And is it just for shoes only, or would you accept clothing as well? I know this is
Yes,
probably
yes. So I'm accepting clothing. Also, I've shared that. So we're doing the drive for shoes mostly because people don't realize that shoes can be recycled, and
yes,
I was that person.
yes,
I had shoes that were basically really good at the soles. The insole was not good, and I just got fed up because I love the shoes, but the insole was worn out.
uh-huh,
Not thinking I could have gone to Walmart and just put an insole in or take it to the cobbler. And
uh-huh.
then I happened upon this organization, and they're actually recycling all parts of the shoe. And there are sometimes you see recycle bins around schools where they say they recycle clothing. I don't know how consistent they are with it, but I know that you can recycle them. The statistics say I think there's like 80% of clothing that you discard ends up in landfills and does not deteriorate. They
Okay.
don't. They're not. They're not biodegradable. So it's better to recycle. So yes, we are taking clothing, but we're definitely focusing on the shoes because we're stepping up
Right.
the shoes against domestic violence.
Okay, that's awesome. So we have the information right there, guys. Go ahead and take a snapshot of that. At the same event, they will be collecting
Yes.
the shoes for those who need them in Haiti. So again, wonderful information. Joanette, it has been incredible speaking with you. I thank you for being available and working around our times.
Yes.
So, any final words before I let you go?
Yes, my final words for my lovely Lauderhill community. We can beat this issue of interpersonal violence in our community, especially when it comes to sexual violence. B is believe the individual that shares their concerns and their issues and their fact that they were assaulted. E, equip yourself with information about these things so you can educate others. A, if you find someone who has gone through these types of challenges, amplify their voice because most times it's just a whisper. And T, help transform others by being their ally. I would also like to give a special thanks and a shout out to Chief Constance Stanley for believing in me and believing in the work that I do and how it connects to the work that she does in the city. And also a special heartfelt thank you to City Manager Desiree Giles Smith, because she took the charge. She wants this in her city, and she felt that I was qualified and the right person for the job. And they have been supporting me from day one with this project. So I thank both of them from the bottom of my heart for all their support and all their kind words.
Wonderful. Joanette, thank you so much. And I congratulate you for the amazing work you're doing in our community of Lauderhill and definitely wider in Haiti, in Broward, in Miami. And I congratulate you on all you're doing, especially with your education. And I can't wait to call you Dr. Joanette Brookes George.
Yes.
Very, very
I mean,
soon.
you can, but just waiting for the ink to dry kind of a thing. So yes, but I appreciate it.
All right. Lots of love. Take care. All the best. All right.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye for now. All right, everybody. That's another Lauderhill TV episode wrapped up for you. We shall be back next week, Thursday, with another amazing episode. I've got a lot of footage of events that I've attended recently, and I haven't had a chance to edit them. So we've got a lot of great things happening, business launches, youth programs, and just so many great things. So we shall be back next week, Thursday, 8 p.m. As always, I will see you then. Bye for now from Lauderhill TV. Bye-bye.